is up, friends? My name is Laura. If you've never visited my YouTube channel before, welcome. Today I am going to be talking to you about one of my favorite topics in the world when it comes to hiking, and that's hiking boots. One of the reasons I find this topic so important is because it can really make or break your hiking experience. A good hiking boot should not only be not causing blisters and pain, but actually should be preventing them and helping you and giving you your foot the support it needs to go even farther. So that is what today's topic is going to be on. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I will be doing tons more hiking videos all around the world. I have tons of permits and amazing hikes coming right up, but also a ton of new series for beginner hikers, especially if you are one of those people. So make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as ring the bell so that you are notified. Let's officially get started. So the first things you are going to do is you're going to decide on the style. One of the things that I recommend is the first time I went out hiking was for about 9 hours when I was completely by myself. My first long hike. I was actually over in Slovenia in Europe, and I went on this long hike, had just this fantastic time. I'll even insert some pictures here. And I am wearing runners, which is not a terrible thing, especially if you're just starting out. But what it did was pinpoint some of the things that I actually want to be looking for when I am looking for hiking boots. So my ankles ended up being incredibly sore the next day, which means I should be looking for some additional ankle support. So a light hiking shoe will be a little bit more of a combination if you are someone who likes to more do trail running, maybe longer, and you like to switch between hiking and running. This is a great option for you. This typically will not have as much ankle support, so that's important to keep in mind. There's also a mountaineering boot, which I have used when I'm going up a lot more snow, when I've been more in South America, and this will be a lot more expensive. It will be a lot heavier as well, and that's really only going to be used when you're putting things like crampons on. The third option, which is probably why you're here today, and this is going to be more of like a hiking boot, and this is my personal one. There's tons of different styles. Mine is the Oboz. It is one of their firmer shoes. As you can see, it's more middle of the range when it comes to ankle support, and I've just been very happy with it. But this is what you think of when you actually go with hiking boot. The second thing that you're going to look at is the actual kind of material that you will be using. This can differ if you are going to be having it more like if you're in Arizona, you're not going to be around as much water. Maybe you just want something that's water resistant. One of the good things about water resistant over waterproof, a lot of times waterproof will not allow the foot to breathe as well, which actually can in return cause blisters. If you're somewhere more like the Pacific Northwest, or you're not quite sure and you will just be wanting them for long-term backpacking uses, I would definitely recommend more going with a waterproof boot, which is what I have. Although you always want to wear in your boot before taking it on a long hike or a backpacking trip, you do also want to keep in mind if that is earlier than you are anticipating, some of the synthetic materials will allow you to get that boot and be ready to go a lot sooner than something a little bit more stiff. As I talked about earlier, you also can have some ankle support. Like I said, this is more of a medium. A low will be more of like a running shoe, but you can have it a little bit more stiff like a hiking boot. And also there are very high up ankle support, and something like that is going to be a lot stiffer to actually be hiking in. It normally will also take a little bit longer to actually mold to your foot, but once you actually do have that in there, a lot more helpful for your actual ankle. The third thing is going to be sizing. So I always recommend, especially if you're just starting out with not sure exactly what kind of boot you want, if you're living in somewhere like the United States, going to a place like REI where you can try on a lot, and the people are helpful in terms of what you actually might be looking for. REI will also talk to you hopefully about the sizing. So for example, in my runners or sandals, I will be a size 9. In hiking boots, I will always size up at least half a size. And I highly recommend this, at least half a size, if not one full size. And when you're going downhill and you're constantly, hitting the bottom of it, I will give you a spoiler that you will probably lose multiple toenails. So if you do size up at least half an inch, that will save your toenails. So this also will differ from company to company. I will say these Oboz, I'm a 9.5 then in them, whereas with Salomon, which I had for about 2.5 years, I was a 9, and that was like very large. They definitely ran large. So that's just another reason why to go in and actually try them out and test them out, walk around the store a lot, just so that you can actually test those out before buying them and using them. understanding what you are actually using these boots for is key. And that's why I say something like thinking about, will I be using them in a lot of rain? Will I be doing river crossings? Do I want them so that, rocks aren't coming in? You also can kind of get some gaiters over top of them so they don't kind of come in the sides. That always drives me insane. Thinking about little places in which your runners might actually rub and keeping those notes with you when you actually go to try them on. A lot of times when you actually are talking to the salesperson or looking up some reviews on the actual shoes themselves, that shoe will be specifically for someone that has wider feet, narrower feet, high arch, no arch at all, any of those kind of things. So understanding you and your specific foot is super important going in. So before actually going in, think about your foot, think about what has ever irked you or something that you know specifically that's a little bit unusual about your foot. Like I said before, any kind of long hike or long backpacking trip, you definitely want to work them in and see if there's any issues. And sometimes it will just take a little bit of wearing them in to actually cause not getting those blisters in the future. I know I honestly am a pretty avid hiker, clearly, but at the same time, one time I bought this hiking boot. It was called La Sportiva, which is a very common hiking boot. I heard great things about it. I went in, I tried it on, and I really did like it. I wore it for numerous hikes. I kind of didn't feel wonderful, but I was like, it's just taking me a little bit longer to, get into, and it'll be okay. I then went into Wyoming and did a 5-day backpacking trip. Here's some pictures of my feet after like the first day, the second day. They just kept getting worse. It was terrible. I don't know if my toenails will ever be the same. So just something like, even if you do get them and they're $150, if you are using them all the time and you need a different pair because they just did not work for you like you were hoping for, just invest in them. I highly recommend. A good hiking boot can really, like I said, make or break your time out in the outdoors, and who doesn't want comfortable feet when they're using them for days or weeks on end. I hope that you did like this video. If you did, give it a quick like. I really appreciate when you do that. It helps me out and it just quickly helps out the algorithm. I will see you next time. Keep living life. Bye.